All right, so everybody, welcome back. For those who are tuning in for the halftime show, much closer, I think, than what we anticipated. So far, it's a 17-14 game. Looks like on the last drive, for some reason, the Eagles had one timeout left, didn't use it. Unfortunately, by the time I get to see the delayed action, it's a little bit delayed. But so the timeout wasted. They could have had it. Mike, on your end, what did you see about it? 1 second left before they decided to not call it.
Seemed like it. Arcega Whiteside caught the damn ball, and I guess they wanted to get back and set up the play, but have Wentz spike it, clock right in. Sounds like a Rich Code Andy Reid type thing.
It could have very well been. Who knows? It could have very well been, but at least some positives out of this game for sure. We've been seeing Fletcher Cox obviously step up. He got his 17th sack of the year. He had a big stop earlier in the game. He looks really good so far. And the defense, we're going to kind of go little by little, but Darius Slay also made it a big stop in the first half. I think towards the end of the first quarter, made a huge stop on a running play that didn't go anywhere whatsoever. So Darius Slay looking well, even though he's gotten 1 to 2 calls that really could have been, at least in my book, a little bogus, because the one at 6'13", it's like a reach in with the wide receiver, and he got caught up on that one. So I don't think that should have been a penalty. But then again, what the refs see versus what we see, I guess, are two different things. But again, Darius Slay, I think, still doing good things, at least the way I see it. And I didn't get a chance to see was the one with Malik Jackson. Apparently, that one was, I guess he was hot or something. Something happened, and I don't know if you got to see something different than what I didn't see. But apparently, they tried to cool him down for one play, but send him right back out the next play.
Say that again.
Malik Jackson. So Malik Jackson, apparently they had taken him out for one play, but they brought him right back in right afterwards. They were saying they were trying to get him to cool down. Apparently he was heated or something was going on. They didn't get into it as far as what ended up happening. I guess we won't know until the post game. But apparently something annoyed him to the point where they had to pull him out at least for a couple of seconds and then bring him right back in.
It looked like a back injury. He was just walking along the sideline holding his back. I don't know.
Well, interesting to see. But the big touchdown run, of course, by Miles Sanders was a 74-yard touchdown run. And you can hear in the game when they were saying that Pittsburgh was caught off guard. Whether they were caught off guard, if there was a holding penalty, we don't know. But the good thing was that Miles Sanders did get a 74-yard touchdown run. And the one thing we had talked about in the pregame show was just that Miles Sanders, we'd hope that he'd have a big game. And so far, he is looking pretty good. Boston Scott adding to some of those carries. Miles Sanders looking pretty good.
Well, they are running the ball. They should be doing a lot more. Miles Sanders has 7 attempts for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Going back to the Pittsburgh's first touchdown, those 2 penalties did kill him. 7 points right there on the board. You're giving away.
Michael Bernardez says, you need a score update. So far, the Eagles down by 3, 17-14, Mike. 17-14. Tom says, I'm watching. Thanks, Tom, again, and everybody out there for watching us. We do appreciate it. So thank you, Tom. And for Mike Sherman, I know he's busy today, but thank you, Mike, for your input. Mike is always saying share the page, and we appreciate it because he does share the page a lot. And so does my partner as well. So we do thank you guys. Again, the only thing that I saw coming into just before the half was it seemed like in the second quarter there was too much space in between the safeties and allowing the wide receivers to get probably 5 more yards than they should have. The separation was a little bit too much. And I don't know if you got to see the same exact thing, but they were putting the pressure on in the first quarter. In the second quarter, it seemed like, I don't know if it's just an adjustment. Maybe Pittsburgh adjusts a little bit more, but it just seemed like the separation gap in between the safeties and wide receivers were a little far more spaced out than what we saw in the first quarter. So I don't know if it's the more pressure or if Mike Callen started to make the adjustment.
It seems like, they are getting in them. Big Ben. Knocking them around.
Right.
Seems like like I said, that Achilles heel for Pittsburgh is the offensive line. You knew that was going to be a factor, and then other center, De Castro, went out early. I believe he didn't come back in the game. So, yeah, if he could get pressure right through the A gap, why not? Just keep blitzing. You know, Schwartz don't like the blitz. Hey, keep sending the house.
I think so. We talked about it earlier this week as well with Adam, but that separation, again, leading into the second touchdown drive for Pittsburgh, that's where it seemed like it was just too much of a separation gap in between the lines. So we're hoping that maybe that the Eagles will adjust to it, and I'm pretty sure Jim Schwartz will. Here at the half, maybe we'll see a tale of two tails at the end of the third going into the fourth. But I mean, overall, it's not looking too bad. And Travis Fulgham, he's getting the reps, he's getting the yardage. I mean, he's wearing the 13 a lot better than what Nelson Aguilar did, because at least he is gutsy. He tries it. Nelson Wentz overthrown, one pass where it could have been possibly caught by Jonathan Hightower, and you got to give it to the kid because at least he did make the lunge attempt. So, of course, a little bit too much on the ball, but overall, I mean, again, we talked about Jonathan Hightower. We hope that he did a much better improvement from the week before, and it seems like he has. Fulgham is stepping up, so we're seeing these young core receivers getting at it, and just maybe that win from last week is getting you to where they need to be.
Before you know it, Fulham could be leading this team in yardage. And he's already got he got 5 receptions for 67 yards. It's like he's stepping up and making a name for himself.
I think so. I mean, you got to think. I mean, Doug, I'm pretty sure that Doug is trying to do the best that he possibly can, especially when it's tough when you don't have the normal off season that you normally do, and when you get guys that are coming straight off the draft and you're adjusting on the fly. I mean, it is what it is, folks. Unfortunately. But the Eagles are trying to do the best they possibly can. I mean, I definitely feel a lot more confident compared to the past week of week 4. It seems a different feel to this team, and it feels like they are making the right move, heading in the right direction. But again, Hightower, you're looking at Sanders, Fulgham. I mean, they're all trying. Zach Ertz, we saw before the half here, where again Carson Wentz overthrown. Zach Ertz had to stretch out more than we probably want to see him. And the last thing that we need is Zach Ertz hurt. So that's one thing that Carson is going to have patience on, and he's just got to. It seems like he wound up a little too tight. Maybe he'll calm down here in the second half.
A couple long bombs to Hightower. Those passes should have been more. The last one right in the end zone right before the half. He missed that one earlier in the game, I believe, was in the first quarter. So, rookie mistakes. Just got to learn from
Yeah, he does, that's for sure. But other than, those minor takeaways, they in the right direction. I think Carson a couple of times, of course, getting caught up in the pocket. Trying to scramble, and do a little more than what he should instead of throwing the ball away. And a couple of them going to be for big loss of yards. So Carson needs to learn as we progress here. We're in week 5. He needs to learn how to throw that ball in. You can't read that line. Get to the ball. It's only going to help you out, because rather than going backwards as far as yardage, getting rid of the ball is not going to hurt anybody. Also, trying to make tight throws is not going to help you out either. So, he is getting a little bit better, but he's just those little mental mistakes can cost you big time in the game. Thank God right now it's only a 3-point game, and we've talked about it. I think that I said 23-21. You mentioned 23-20. I mean, who knows? It could still go in that direction, but it's a lot closer than I think any of us would have thought. And I mean, the Steelers are bringing it. Their defense is pretty good, and obviously it shows. But Ben Roethlisberger at 4.2, it looked like he was moving off on the sideline. Who knows if he may have gotten hurt on one injuries. I know he's been pressured a lot and hurt. So as long as we can keep seeing the defense doing the same exact thing, this second half should bode well for the Eagles.
Yeah, just hope that last time out the Eagles dug in hole and went back and won. As far as field goal. just to tie the game. Game should be tied right now, 17 all, but hopefully I'll get they'll get their act together and play
Well, let's hope so. Mike Sherman says that I'm pretty sure the Eagles were out of timeouts. If they were, then the last play is unacceptable. They have to know the clock management there. And it's true, Mike. And when I was looking at it, Mike, it looked like, at least according to the clock, when I was watching on the screen here, that there was one timeout left. And obviously I can't hear the halftime show with us going on back and forth here, but it looked like to me there was one timeout left by the Eagles. Now they chose not to take it. That's on them, and Mike Sherman is correct that that's blown management clock time by the Eagles. But it looked like to me, at least, that they did have one timeout left.
Little mistakes like that. Get back to Andy Reid and those clock decisions. Not to reiterate that. Doug's usually a lot better than Andy as far as clock management.
That's true. Well, we're seeing adjustments on the fly, so hopefully we'll see it. We're going to take a look here a little bit around the NFL. And, well, we see obviously the Broncos and Patriots were postponed. Both teams have a week 5 bye because another player, of course, tested positive. So we'll see what happens with that team later on. But if you're looking at the scores across the board here, you got Carolina up on Atlanta 20-7. That game's in the third. Baltimore over Cincinnati 17-0. Houston over Jacksonville 13-7. That should be a win for Houston. But again, we've yet to see what's going to happen with this team. Vegas is almost at the half. They are up 24-21 in KC, but we know we've seen KC come back and win it in the past. Arizona over the New York Jets 17-3 in the third. Of course, we're at 17-14. And, of course, the highlight of the week, it's the LA Rams versus the DCU Dum-Dums, and they're up 20-10. So let's see if DCU can do anything, but whatever. They called the last time out on the Sanders play at midfield. Okay. All right. Well, then that settles apparently that dispute as far as with the clock management. But I mean, again, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe come the second half here, we'll see a major adjustment. I think they're starting to kind of fire on all cylinders. If it's an 8-cylinder, I say they're at least on 4 at this point, coming in from last week. But it's looking good, so I'm hoping the Eagles can pull off the victory. So again, real quick recap for you guys: 17-14 at the half here. We're hoping to see big things coming out in the second half. I thank Tampa Joe's for sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate it. From Mike Klein's group, Philly of the South, down here at Tampa Joe's. I hope they're having a great time. We'll see you guys soon. Mike Sherman says, good show, guys. Go Birds. And thank you, Mike, once again, to Tom. Rick made a comment earlier, and I couldn't see it until after it was done, and he was talking about as far as the audio issue. So we are definitely getting there. We do appreciate it. But thank you guys again for watching. Please like and share. We'll keep bringing the content. And by the way, guys, let us know if you like the interviews. If you don't like the interviews, I always put out the email. Shoot an email. Broad Street South Sports Talk at gmail.com. And let us know, because, again, this show is about you guys, and we're just hoping to bring good quality content every week since the other networks seem to be doing other things otherwise. So we're hoping to do good things for you guys. So, again, thanks to Maggie's on the waterfront for allowing us to broadcast from there. We do appreciate it, with Mike Fuji being out there. If you guys want to go see him, he's still out there at Maggie's. And we talked about our event earlier. Also, For the Bay Clothing Company, one quick mention for them as well. Again, these are small businesses, folks, and we need to support the small business, because without them, the big corporations continue to win, and we need to look out for the little ones, because it makes all the difference in the world. So, Mike, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to see how the second half plays out, and until next week, we will see everyone. We do appreciate it. Any final words, Mike?
Yeah, well, thank Kathleen, Maria, Rich, and all the Eagles pages for letting this broadcast on respected Eagles pages. Thank Tom and Mike for all the viewers watching us. Go Birds.
Go Birds indeed. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you again for viewing the show, and we will see you guys next time.